Hello. It's it's me, Josh Hunter, and I'm presently on the planet Earth, and I would just like to address something, only because I'm not sure this is something I would remember. Not only because, but as you know, I've been kind of well, maybe you don't know, but I mean, I've been slightly critical of the cast and crew, or no, the cast members and the writers of Saturday Night Live for like the last 2 years. I've just been, just slightly critical, only because there's, I don't know. Well, anyway, um, so I, I want to say here that I know that it's a very difficult show to be on. The idea of, having to every week come up with brand new relevant comedy, and just work. You got to build the sets, you got to write it, you got to make sure it's funny, you got to make sure you're funny, you got to make sure that uh, you know you got to hit your marks, you got to make sure you understand the cues, all these things you got, and it's live, and I I could never do that, never. And which is interesting because in high school I was voted most likely to end up on Saturday Night Live. Um, but I mean, that type of speed, like I couldn't. Anyway, so I discovered Kyle Mooney's YouTube. I didn't know he had a YouTube. I didn't know that's like. I mean, I knew him and Beck, and cause they were part of the. I mean, they did stuff before, but I didn't know like he had like a YouTube. And so I was watching some of his videos, and there's this scene where like, what video? I think the video Extremers, and this like woman, kisses him, and he has this reaction. He's like, "Oh, did that just happen to me?" or something like that. And like I started to laugh. I'm like, "Ha, that's funny," and I started to chuckle, and then something like stopped me. Like it would be impolite to laugh at that. And I thought to myself, well, why? Because this is I get these subtle signals, and I thought to myself, why would it be impolite? Like he's just making fun of, you know, that kind of that innocent feeling, or that not innocent, but he's mocking the feeling of being, like a person who's never been kissed, or a person who doesn't get kissed very often. And I know that because I'd never been kissed, and I'm like, if someone did that to me, I'd be like, yeah, I'd be feeling the same fucking thing. Anyway, um, but but then something told me like not to laugh. Not told me, but I got a sense that it would be impolite to not to laugh. And then I started thinking, well, wait a minute, maybe this guy like isn't like joking. There's this assumption that like, oh, he's doing a character. And because I know people kind of treat me the same way, like when I'm talking and doing this type of thing, like they're like, oh, that's your character, but there's a normal side to you somewhere, and you're just, it's like, all right, dude. um, and so like I'm seeing this, and so then I thought, okay, well maybe so I watched some other interviews that he did, and he and they like I watched this like Today Show interview where he's they're saying, oh, this awkward character that you do, and I'm paying very close attention to like his reactions, and this type of thing, and I'm thinking like maybe this isn't a character, and he's just realized that this is himself, and people will kind of pay him to be himself, because I don't know. I mean, the thing that, or one of the things that kind of, anyway, I don't know if like he wants to be on Saturday Night Live. I don't know if he wants to be a comedian. I don't know if he just, it was suggested that he follow this path in life or whatever. Because so basically what I want to say is, if if by chance, like, you know, a lot of the stuff that he does, you know, the things that he says and whatever, that it's not a character, and like that's just himself. Like, I don't know. I don't want people to exploit it, is what I'm saying. I don't care if he makes money. I don't care if he, you know, becomes successful or popular. But I don't want people to exploit it, especially people who know that it's not a character, and who exploit it willingly, knowing that they're forcing him, pigeonholing him into this way that he may not want to be. And maybe he does, though. What the fuck do I know? Like, he may like just want, like, this may be exactly what he wants. And if that's the case, forgive even the slightest intrusion or assumption. If he's like, you know what, he's like, Josh, I know that you were just, you know, trying to, you know, be a, you know, something. But don't worry about it. I got it covered. I'm not, you know, I'm not like, this ain't my first rodeo, so I understand what the stakes are, and you know, I appreciate you looking out for me, and basically, you know, if he said something like that, I would be like, okay, I would back off. But I have these certain things that I can't, you know, I don't like that type of exploitation, like where there's like where the person, because I don't believe that life will defend everyone. I know that we all have this idea that, oh, you know, there are certain people who, you know, God will fucking protect certain people, like, no matter what. And I think that sometimes, you know, God is just very busy and decides to let certain things slide. So this is just one of those things. And it's also, it seems very connected, because sometimes I have some very irrational emotions towards, like, the moon. And so I know it seems kind of like, I don't know, what's the word? It's sloppy, or, I mean, because his name is Mooney or whatever, but I mean, the moon, because I did bring this up in another video, but I want to explain to you the type of exploitation that I don't like. And as you know, the movie First Man came out last year or 2 years ago, and that was about, you know, Neil Armstrong going to the moon. And oddly enough, I've never actually studied the moon. I don't know a lot about it. I did watch this, you know, one kind of unusual video that claimed that they found a body or two bodies on the moon of, like, some woman. She had some type of, like, metal or something sealed into her eyes or whatever. I don't know if it was real. Somebody, I mean, they all said it was like, I don't know, some type of a hoax or something. But in the movie First Man, Neil Armstrong and they're you know, he's chosen to be like the guy who goes to the moon, and they're working so hard, you know, to do this. And if you exclude, like, kind of the poor intelligence that if you choose not to think about how it is not necessarily the most intelligent decision to try and go to another planet when you have not solved the problems on your own planet, and if you simply focus on the aspect of a group of people or a man attempting to simply achieve something great, if you only look at that aspect, you know, a lot of people, you know, so this guy's trying to go to the moon, and you know, his coworkers are dying, people are dying, the you know, the planes or the crafts that they're using, you know, blow up, and I mean, it's taken its toll on him. I mean, that's what was communicated to me through the film. I didn't actually study this, so like I said, I know sometimes they do dramatize things in order to make it, you know, more enjoyable, I guess. But you know, he had a daughter who also died. Neil Armstrong did, and you know, so when they finally get to the moon, you know, Neil, you know, he's the first man on the moon, the first man on the moon, and like I guess either one of the first or the last things he does while he's on the moon. Like his daughter made him like this bracelet of her name or something, and he tosses it into this like open crater on the moon. Like, and it's her name. Karen is her name. Karen. Karen. And oddly enough, like the first job that I ever had at Albertson's grocery store, that was the name of the woman who hired me. And so I thought, like, if they're trying to like just kind of like wring out any type of tear, any type of drop of sadness, just like, we got you, you know, we're or don't like, if they're exploiting the memory, you know, like, yes, all these things happen and it is a part of the national public record, but I mean, like, I don't know if that actually happened or if it happened like that. But if it did happen, and if the motives behind it were to just, let's make some money off this guy and his daughter's death, we know the audience is gonna like that, because I'd never known that before. I didn't know that he threw like her bracelet into the cavern. You'd think they would have exploited that a long time ago. So that's the type of exploitation that I'm talking about. Like, yes, he was a national figure, but to exploit his personal loss for the sake of entertainment, I think, is uniquely inappropriate. So, if, you know, like I said, I don't want to be like some sympathetic person, but like, if Kyle is being like exploited simply because people know that, oh, I know how people are gonna react to this guy, we're gonna, if they're all like the fucking lawyer from Jurassic Park, you know, we're gonna make a fortune off this place. If that's their attitude, then like, I'm not having it. So I just, you know, sometimes, you know, there are these subtle things that, you know, that your life will tell you. It's like, when if you're just, so anyway, I don't want to fucking ruin the guy's career though, because if everybody's like, oh, you know, because I mean, that may be what he wants. Like, I don't know the guy, I never met him. But I want to make sure that, if he wanted out of the comedy business, that there's at least one person, me, giving him an out. Like, if he wants to do something other than like have his natural way of life exploited for the sake of a few yucks, I would like to support that endeavor, at no great cost to myself, of course. But I don't, certain things I can't, I can't, I won't tolerate it. And, so yeah. And don't get me wrong, like, don't think that I'm like some like fucking like great person. I don't think I'm some great person either. Like, I've been, anyway. Not, like I said, I will never monetize these videos. I don't care who you are. Not that I don't imagine that anybody would ever, you know. But like, if it came to the point where, oh, and YouTube says, oh, you now have the option of monetizing these videos, I'll say no. I'll say no every fucking time. This is Josh Hunter TV. It's my TV station. This is one of the things I've always wanted. I wanted my own television station, and now I got it. And no one can tell me what I can or cannot say. I mean, if you monetize it, then that's their way of getting their fucking fingers into, you know. And as long as no one is receiving money, or if I'm not receiving money from people from, okay, so I can always say what I want, you know, within reason, of course, as long as no one's paying me. That's how I retain control. So I'd rather have control than have a couple of bucks, because a couple of bucks are here, and then a couple of bucks are not here. And that's all she wrote. I'm 33 years old, and I've never made a mistake.